Hey everyone, this is going to be a video describing my thoughts and feelings on Elder Scrolls Online. Before I even give any of that, I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple of key subjects here, how it matches up to other MMOs like World of Warcraft and Rift and things like that, and how it differs. Like in every MMO game, Elder Scrolls Online has points you put into things, like skill points and talent trees and things like that. In Rift and World of Warcraft, you had talent trees. In Rift, you had these really huge talent trees you could go through. Soul trees, I think they were called. But basically, what you would do is you would put a point in whatever looked nice, and the more points you put into like the lower end talents, you would unlock the higher end ones, and you'd be able to make more decisions. Just keep going up the tree. Usually there'd be a couple of trees maybe that you could go through depending on which kind of character you pick, like a rogue or a warrior. There'd be entirely different things to pick through. In Elder Scrolls Online, it is similar, yet entirely different. I'm going to explain that to you. There are skill points, and they're key to determining what your character is going to be like in the game. By that, I mean there aren't like 3 or 4 skill trees like there are in World of Warcraft or Rift or anything like that. There's like 10 or 11, and these things, they work with everything in the game. Literally everything is evolved around skill points. There are the 3. There's always 3 for each individual character, like the Dragon Knight, the Templar, the Sorcerer, the Rogue type character, Nightblade they're called. I think those might be the only classes. There's not very many classes, but you can customize them to crazy lengths. There are 3 different kinds of skill trees you can throw points in for your character. However, besides those 3 skill trees, there's also an entirely different set of skill trees for weapons. You could put skills in weapons like two-handed weapons, dual wielding, shield and sword, staffs, both destruction kinds of staffs like fire, ice, and lightning, and healing ones, and bows. Those are all of the weapons that you can put points into. What you do is you go down into like the talent trees, you go to weapons, you go to the weapon you want, and you put points in them, granting you unique abilities for that weapon and that weapon only. Unlike in World of Warcraft or something, where if you're a rogue, you're only going to use daggers or something like that, not really going to be using two-handed weapons, but even so, all of your abilities would work with it. In this game, your weapons actually help determine which abilities you're going to use, aside from your class abilities, which were those 3 trees that you get, like depending on what you picked in the beginning of the game. Besides that, everyone can put weapons in put points in all the weapons. A mage can put points in two-handed weapons. A warrior or a dragon knight or a templar can put points in staffs if they please. All of that is totally optional. Besides that, there's even more. There's several other skill trees. Well, there's one for guilds, and these are like mage guild, fighter guild, and undaunted. Those are all that I've seen so far. That's what the 3 skill trees are called. And basically, mage guild, putting points in that, they're all like miscellaneous things. Like if you put points in mage guild, you can unlock something called the persuasive presence, which while you're doing quests, at times you'll be able to persuade people and get better rewards and better outcomes. Like maybe instead of having to run around the map a couple times picking something up for someone, you can persuade them to do it for you, and you can just get through quests faster. I wouldn't really recommend it all of the time, because in this game I found that it's really easy to fall behind in level. I've done it twice so far. You'll be doing quests, you realize, wow, these guys are all 3 levels ahead of me. Why is this? It's because you fell behind. Well, the game assumes you're adventuring, the game assumes you're not just doing the main quest, you're out having fun, doing random shit with friends and stuff like that, and you're leveling up in other ways. Because if you solely do the main quests, even if you do a few optional ones off to the side, you're not going to be high enough level. About like 7 or 8 quests in, you're going to be wishing you did more, because you'll be way behind, you won't be able to do it. You'll have to go back to backtrack your steps and go exploring and find new things to level up on. So the other presence is called Intimidating, which is pretty much the same concept, except it's intimidating. Obviously, it's not like persuasive. Intimidating can get you into more trouble if you mess it up. But intimidating, it usually helps you get away with things where you'll have to pay someone for their uniform as a disguise or something, and you use Intimidating Presence, you get out of that, and you don't have to pay them. Some of these fines are pretty hefty too, so I would take it eventually. Either at least one, at least Persuasive or Intimidating Presence, I'd put a point in. Some quests are easy without it, like you don't really need it. You don't like require them, that's why they're optional, that's why they require a skill point. And I mean, half the time it comes down to, do I want a new spell, or do I want to save some gold? That's what it's going to come down to, and you're going to have to make those choices for yourself. I think one of the reasons a lot of people haven't really liked this game that much is because they haven't really played it. Now what I'm saying is, yes, it does play out like Skyrim a little bit, you know what I mean? Skyrim, the hack and slash game, it really doesn't require a whole lot of focus, a whole lot of energy towards it. You start out and you're already really strong. Like the first couple quests, you already have that dragon shout, you know, and you're used to just getting right to it. This is an MMORPG game. What that means is, like games like World of Warcraft, it's not going to always seem appealing right at the start. World of Warcraft, they have you killing 10 boars out with the same fireball 100 times over, and turning in the quest and they go killing 10 more somewhere else. I mean, is that really that appealing? Probably not to many people. Why they keep playing it though is because the fact that they know that there's going to be more. They know once they reach this level, they're going to get that new ability, they're going to be able to go exploring, they're going to go PvP, go do dungeons, things like that, get new items. That's what they're waiting on. You play this game to get further. That's how you have fun with it. You advance into it. Lots of people started this game thinking it'd be just like Skyrim, where you're instantly rewarded for literally everything you do, but it's not like that. You have to work for the things you want in this. Of course, I mean, if it was all work, it wouldn't really be much of a game, would it? But that's the point. You, like in life, you work towards what you want here, and you make it so, and once you get it, you find it appealing, you hope it made up for the fact that you had to work for it. So I really recommend, before you judge this game, get past like level 5 or 6. That's when it started getting really good for me, level 5 or 6. It doesn't really take that long. If you go through this tutorial, you'll be at least level 3 by the time you're done with the little tutorial thing that you run through real quick. After that, you can skip that after you've done it once, and then you could immediately start at level 3, and you get going right from the start. So what I'm just saying is try and give it a chance. The next thing I'll go ahead and talk about the fighting mechanics. You can play this game in third person or first person, whichever you prefer. You can play it pretty zoned out. If you're in third person, you can scroll out pretty far, like farther than I thought you would be able to, but you can scroll out rather far if you're in third person, kind of take a look over your environment. However, I very much prefer playing it in first person. It's just, I feel like it just feels so much more authentic to the Elder Scrolls name. It just feels so much more fun. I never really played Skyrim in third person. I always liked it in first person. The fighting mechanics are similar to other Elder Scrolls games, hack and slash, things like that, except the only difference being that in most of them you won't have an action bar or a skill bar. In this game you have one, however it's very limited. You can't add on to it a whole lot. There's only about four or five buttons and an ultimate ability button that you can put stuff on. At level 15 you could swap it out with a second action bar with a different weapon set, but up until then you're going to be using one, and you're going to have to pick and choose your skills. One of the reasons I think they did this was so that you just didn't get a huge variety of spells, and instead put those points into some of the other things like weapons and passive stats that just affect you without you having to hit a button, or maybe something like crafting wise. That's why I think they did that. When you're building your character, it's so much fun. The first time I went through, you're not gonna wanna make like the perfect DPS assassin or something the first time you go through. You're gonna wanna make mistakes. You can reset your points at any time. It is a little costly. It is a little bit costly. You're going to want to reset your points eventually, probably. But what you're gonna want to do is just put it in whatever you want. Put it in whatever you want. Don't put it in things that are like, well, maybe I won't use that weapon anymore, and I'll go to something else. I have like points in destruction staffs. I have points in bows. You know, I mean, I don't really consider it wasted because, you know, I like to pick up a different weapon every once in a while and have some fun with it. And this gives you the ability to do that. It's really quite fun. When you're building your character, I just recommend you adventure, you have fun, you don't look at it like a grind. Don't look at it like a grind. Look at it like another world that you can just explore. That's what I've been doing. I've just been exploring everything. I've been ignoring the main quest for a little while, just looking through, finding places I never thought existed, going through caves, mining, finding new bosses to fight that are just out there that they won't just point out for you and you just have to find. Something that is in this game that you might want to get ready for is the fact that there are no auction houses. However, there are guild stores, and what that is I'll explain. There's basically trade guilds, where you basically get a deal with like hundreds and hundreds of people in it, and its only real purpose will be to trade your items. There is sort of an auction house style place called the guild store, and you go to these, auction house people, and you go and sell and buy things from the guild store, but that only works with the people in your guild, not everyone in the game world. That's where it gets a little iffy. Some people really would prefer an auction house so guilds could be more serious and not just trade guilds everywhere, but you will get serious guilds, you will get trade guilds. You can take up to 5 guilds at a time, so I don't really see a huge problem with that, seeing how most guilds, trade guilds, have over 500 people by now, so it's not a huge ordeal to find items you want to sell or buy in the guild store. Besides that, I think it's gonna be just fine. The price of the game, I got it on a coupon discount, and I'm sure many people did. I got this like 2 days after it was let out, so I know this coupon still works. I just basically Google Elder Scrolls Online discount. You'll probably find it for less than $50 somewhere, I'm sure. The regular edition, at least. I don't know about the limited one. And you'll get your first month free, but after that it's $15 a month. A lot of people got really upset with that. Honestly, I'm not too entirely upset. That means that there's going to be more additions to the game. They're going to pay more attention to it. They're going to make sure to get rid of cheaters as quickly as possible. It's not a whole lot. It's $15. I can afford $15 a month. I mean, I do have a crappy minimum wage job, but it's $15. It's like an hour and a half of time. I could afford that a month. I mean, I guess if you don't have a job, you go mow a lawn or something. It's not really a huge deal. I understand that you probably wouldn't want to keep paying for the same game. If people are going to be like, well, it's like $200 every 2 years or something. Well, you can buy more than a month at a time, and if you buy like a whole year, it's like half off. So it's not a huge deal. I mean, if you expect to be playing it for years, like you say, where you add up the 15 or all those months you expect to be playing it, just buy the year of it. You'll get like at least like 40% off what it would be if you were paying 15 a month. So I'd recommend doing that. I actually prefer that they have this 15 a month price because it encourages improvement in the game. The crafting, this is my favorite part. I'm going to talk a bit about this. The crafting in the game is definitely unique to many of these. Like World of Warcraft, I keep comparing it to that because that's just a really popular MMO. But in games like other MMOs, you'll have crafting, and basically you go out in the world, you find the supplies. Like, let's say we're making some, new armor, right? You find the ores, you mine it, you bring it back, you smelt it, you make it into the armor. That's it. Maybe you have to find a recipe. That's it, though. That's the extent of your expedition. In Elder Scrolls, you go out in the world, and yes, you have to find the supplies, just like usual. Except it's not as easy, I'd say, to find them. I mean, they spawn a lot more randomly. There's not like set places. Sometimes you could find it in the same place, but a lot of the time you're gonna have to go out adventuring. I don't really mind. There are perks you can put in the crafting. There are crafting skill sets you can put skill points in to make it easier to find ores, like the glow on the ground stuff. You could do things like that, like a faint light will come out of them. But basically what you do is you go and mine up your supplies and you bring it back. Bring it back to a little blacksmithing area or something within a town. And what you do is you turn it into bars. And it's not 1 bar per ore. It's like for every 10 iron ore, it's like you can get 7 to 10 bars. So you can get really lucky and get 10 bars every single time. And then yes, it would be 1 bar per ore, but that's usually not the case. You get anywhere between 7 to 10 per. Alright, so basically, you head back to town, you're at the blacksmithing station, there's people everywhere like there usually is, and you're making your new chestplate. Unlike other games, you don't just click the one you want and get it done. This game has a lot of customization when it comes to it. First of all, here's what you're going to look at first. You're going to look at all the different weapons and shit you're going to want to make. It's like they're not in a list, they're like pictures and stuff that you get to pick out of. Alright, you pick, let's say you want the chest armor, right? Alright, the first thing you'd pick out, what kind of metal? Iron, okay? And you can add more. Like, it's not just this kind of armor requires 2 bars. No, you could build the same type of looking armor and just add more bars onto it and make it stronger. Make it higher leveled. Not stronger necessarily, but higher leveled. So let's say I want some level 12 stuff. That requires, I keep hitting the plus button, I get to 7 bars, right? No, I think it's like 8 or 9 bars, but you get my point. I get to like 8 or 9 bars of iron. Alright. Usually that would be it for most MMOs, but this takes it a couple steps farther. You go one down, you see styles. Ooh, what is this? What you do is, when you play the game, you're going to come across these books. They're called motifs. And basically, you can style armor and weapons of all types into different looking material. Like, they'll be the same thing, but it'll look different. And you can do that for all the races. Like orcs, orcs have their own looking armor. You can do that for, it's like in Skyrim where you did some orc armor and it looked totally different than like your other iron armor, but it can have the same stats. It's like that. You pick what you want it to look like. There's like 10 or 11 different things, different styles you could go through. However, you will have to find or buy the books for them. The books are usually the motifs. They're called. They're pretty much just books that describe the. Like, if I were to get the orc one, it would just be a book about orcs, and then once I read it or clicked through it or whatever, I'd unlock the style for it, and I'd be able to craft like that. Alright, let's say you want it orc style. Alright, there you go, orc. And then it takes it a step farther. It asks you what trait you want. Now, to find traits, you have to take armor that you found while adventuring with certain traits, like it decays slower, which means when you die, its durability goes down slower, or it's more precise, or something like that. And what you do is you bring it back to the blacksmithing station, and you deconstruct it and you research it right there, and then you'll learn how to make it in that style. Alright, let's see, you pick out your trait. You're like, well, I just learned how to make this armor 5% better, so you throw that trait in there. Alright, and you have to have the supplies for that. Let's say you have to have like a ruby. You have to throw a ruby in there to do that. Alright, you're done. You make the armor, and it comes out looking and being just how you wanted it. But that's not it. You can enchant it. By that, you don't need to have some enchanting skill line that you have to spend days leveling up. No, anyone can enchant anything if you have the right glyph. There's like these glyphs that you can buy or make. If you buy them and apply them to something, you don't have to have any skills. But if you want to make them yourself, you do have to have put some work into enchanting. But there's stores you can buy them, like merchants all around for like decently high leveled, and they're pretty good ones too. So what you do is you enchant it, and now you think you're done? Nope. There's still yet another step you can throw in there. You can make the item rarer. Every item you make will come out white, and that's the least rare type. Then there's green, blue, etc., etc. What you do is there's certain items that'll evolve it, but there's only a chance. Like, if you wanted to do a staff, it's this thing called pitch. What you do is you take bottles of pitch and you bring it back to the blacksmithing, not the blacksmithing, it'd be this woodworking station for the staffs, and you add them on, and the more you add it on, the higher percentage chance that it would turn green. And if you add it on like 5, there's a 100% chance that it won't break. But if you add on less than 5, like 4, and there's an 80% chance, there's a 20% chance you're about to break your weapon, so you have to be very careful about that. Then you're finally done. Assuming you don't want to make it a blue item or better, you want to keep adding on, you're finally done with it. That's the crafting. That's all the steps through the crafting. You can make one item your own in so many ways. It's ridiculous. I spend like half my game time just crafting because it's so much fun. Even at low levels, you can look like a total badass. The only like real con I would see in the game right now is there are gold sellers. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're thinking. Gold sellers, really? Yeah, they will spam the chat. However, you can ignore them, and they're gone fairly quickly. The moderators are always finding new ways to get rid of them, and I try to report them all that I see and ignore them. There's also a mod to auto-ignore people with random characters in their names. I would recommend getting that if you are getting really annoyed, but that is something that's definitely annoying me about the game. In the end, I think I'd give the game a solid 8 out of 10. I think a solid 8 out of 10 would work really well. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this gameplay. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to throw the gameplay of when I first started running through a dungeon. I really didn't expect this commentary to last 20 minutes, but I had a lot of thoughts to discuss about this game. Those that stuck with it the whole time, thank you, and maybe leave a like and subscribe if you would like some more videos. Probably going to throw some more videos of Elder Scrolls Online, probably going to throw some more videos of other games, some League of Legends videos, as you can probably tell if you looked at them. But I hope everyone has a good day or night or whatever it is. Right now it's like 12:51 a.m. But I'll see ya. Thanks for watching.